Okay, imagine being handed a literal blueprint for the end of the world, written thousands of years ago. Welcome to this explainer, where today we are meticulously unpacking the prophecy behind the flood. We're going to be looking at a very brief but incredibly dense excerpt of ancient text that outlines the sheer mechanics of a biblical scale catastrophe. We're going to examine the anatomy of an apocalypse and uncover exactly how this ancient mandate envisioned ultimate destruction. Let's dive in.
So this is where we have to start, with the ultimate stakes of our source material. We are not talking about a localized event or some minor natural disaster here. The text explicitly promises, and I quote, a judgment and destruction over all those who live and dwell on the earth. Now that hooks us immediately, right? Because it establishes a threat of a global cataclysm that's fundamentally designed to leave zero survivors. Every single inhabitant of the earth is squarely in the crosshairs of this prophecy. It's a heavy, inescapable pronouncement that really sets a chilling tone for everything we're about to uncover.
All right, Section 1, the Enochian Flood Prophecy. We're deconstructing the mandate of the waters here. By analyzing the specific language used in this text, we can really start to understand its profound weight. We're going to see exactly how this destruction was designed to play out.
But before we get into the actual mechanics of destruction, let's briefly establish the perspective. The source material gives us this really intriguing final line, "And I went away from the presence of Enoch." This frames everything we're reading as a harrowing vision relayed directly from, or in the presence of, Enoch himself. I mean, the narrator has just witnessed something so massive, so completely overwhelming, that their immediate response is this quiet, almost stunned departure. It perfectly grounds the sheer, massive scale of the prophecy in a very human reaction.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Angels of Punishment. These are our agents of judgment.
Let's break down exactly who these agents are. Now, these definitely aren't your typical guardian angels. These are the angels of punishment. Their entire existence, their specific jurisdiction and purpose in this narrative, is entirely destructive. They are the designated entities prepared to come forth and unleash this global judgment. Basically, they're the frontline soldiers of this catastrophe.
We're going to drip feed this primary text a bit to really let the tension build. Just listen closely to this phrasing, who are prepared to come. They aren't getting ready, they aren't, in training. They are already poised and prepared to strike. It frames the threat not as some distant possibility, but as an impending ticking time bomb. The hammer is literally pulled back, it's just waiting to drop.
Which brings us to Section 3, Unleashing the Subterranean Waters, or the Mechanism of Destruction. We know who's bringing the destruction, but how exactly are they going to do it?
Well, this is where the source material completely subverts our expectations. When we typically think of a mythological flood narrative, we picture torrential rain, right? A flood pouring down from the heavens. But the text focuses entirely on a different threat. Not a flood from the sky, but power from below. It radically shifts the vulnerability of humanity. The threat isn't up there in the clouds, it's looking down at the dirt right beneath our feet, suggesting the very foundation we stand on is inherently unstable.
And this chilling quote really drives that point home. It says, "The angels are coming in order to open all the powers of the water which is under the earth." This is the true prophecy behind the flood, an apocalyptic vision of massive pressurized water waiting right beneath the surface. It almost suggests an earth that is hollow, filled with this destructive force that just needs a valve to be opened. The ground itself is poised to just erupt with the waters of judgment. So this prophesied sequence of destruction operates almost like an assembly line of doom. Step 1, the agents arrive. Step 2, the subterranean weapon is unleashed. Step 3, total global destruction. It's clinical, it's inevitable, and honestly, it's utterly terrifying in its mechanical simplicity. There's no chaotic frenzy here, just a calculated, methodological execution of a global mandate.
But then we hit a wall. We have this massive catastrophe already in motion, right? The agents are ready, the waters are primed. So we have to pivot sharply and ask the central question of this explainer. Why was this ultimate destruction delayed? I mean, what could possibly step in front of a catastrophic global machine that is already geared up and ready to fire?
That exact question brings us to Section 4, the command to wait. This is the divine pause. This is the final startling twist of the text. The intervention comes from the Lord of Spirits. Listen to this specific, dramatic command. It says the angels went forth, so they were already moving, their hands were literally poised to strike and open those subterranean waters. And the Lord of Spirits commands that they should not lift up their hands but should wait.
It is a massive slamming of the brakes on the end of the world.
The absolute crucial point to take away here is the contrast between these two forces. On one hand, we have the raw, catastrophic drive of the angels of punishment, pure, unadulterated destructive intent just ready to flood the globe. But countering them is the supreme restraining authority of the Lord of Spirits. It tells us that no matter how powerful and prepared the forces of destruction are, there is a higher chain of command that possesses the authority to issue a universal pause.
Ultimately, though, this builds a very specific kind of lingering terror. The text concludes by noting that these angels are over the power of the waters. This means their destructive power wasn't revoked. The Lord of Spirits didn't disarm them. They retain their full jurisdiction over that subterranean deep. The apocalypse isn't canceled, guys. It is merely paused. They're still standing there, hands ready, just waiting for the command to resume.
Which leaves us to consider a final, profoundly unsettling question. What does it mean to live on an earth where your destruction is waiting right beneath your feet, held back only by a single command? The Enoch mandate doesn't leave us with a sense of permanent safety. Instead, it grounds us in an eerie realization of our own fragile state. It paints a picture of a world suspended on a tightrope,